الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين والغرر الميامين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين وحجته على الخلائق أجمعين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. So this is the sixth lesson of covering the subject of fiqh, and we started with the introduction and the foundation of the entire fiqh, and we elaborately explained as to the opinion of the Sayyid why do we do taqleed and how we do taqleed. And we mentioned the first subject that's discussed in regards to the laws of Islam is the laws of water. And we mentioned last week that water has types. Who can remember what was the main category that water would be categorized to? That's incorrect. It was two. It was first mutlaq and mudaf. Ahsantu. Mutlaq meant what? What was the meaning of mutlaq?
Pure and mixed. Pure in chemical.
Pure, as if not. It's absolute water. H2O. Something that's considered H2O in common perception. We call it orf. Like something that's considered water. Is sea water H2O?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just not a scientist, okay? With sodium, ahsant. We got our scientist. Your name was Milad? Your name was? Mahdiyar. Beautiful name. Who can remember what was the definition of mudaf? Because we're going to use this today. Sorry? Mixed.
Yeah.
Can we go technical? Yes, that's the meaning of mudaf, yes.
When the
Additive. Mixed water.
Taken from something, or yes, mixed, because watermelon is not mixed. Watermelon juice,
Yeah.
orange juice is not mixed, but it's derived from something, or it's mixed with something such as water that is mixed with mud or like mud, to the extent that mixture has to be to this extent that it is no longer called water. Like for example, if you put, let's say, maybe one drop of food coloring into 50 liters of water. It's mixed. It's mixed, but it's not mixed to what extent? It's not called no longer water. It's still called water. But if you add so much until it loses that waterness, let's call it ma'iyya. Actually in fiqh they call it ma'iyyat. That it loses that waterness, that's when it becomes mudaf. So that's clear. So what was the meaning of mutlaq again?
Absolute.
Ahsantum. So that first category that you were saying, how many absolute waters do we have? 5. So the first is kur, second is qalil, jari, and rainwater, and well. Ahsantum. Okay. Who can define what was kur?
More than 384 or more than 384 liters.
384 liters. That's great. So if our water was 384 liters, it's kur, yes? No. It's absolute first. So an absolute water that's 384 liters, that's kur. But if a mudaf water, mixed water, mudaf, we're not going to call it mixed because it had a technical definition. So if mudaf water was 384 liters, is it kur?
No.
Why?
Because it needs to have
Because it's not absolute. It's mudaf. Okay? This is very technical, and so many people fall into mistakes because of this. Who can remember what qalil was? We're going to be working with this. That's why I'm
water less than 384 liters.
Okay, and It has one more thing.
It can change
No.
the attributes of.
No. I'll wait 10 more seconds. Anyone?
It's connected. It's connected by flowing, not air.
I think you know what you're going to say. It should not be springing from the land, from the earth. If it has a source from the earth, it could be jari. We'll speak about it, okay? But the first thing is, it should not be sourced from the earth. So that's going to take long to write. So not sourced from the earth. Secondly, below core amount. That's qalil water. And with qalil water, I can purify things. If a water that's mudaf, I cannot purify things with it. Why? Because it's not water. Technically, by our fiqh, it's not water. Water in our fiqh is only this. Other than this, it's not water. We even mentioned that to an extent that is no longer called water. Orange juice is not water. Juices are not water. So absolute water, we mentioned that. We explained Quran Qalil. We explained the matters in regards to that. We got to the matters in regards to jari water. Now we want to know what's jari water. The translation of jari water could be translated. That's great, yes. Flowing. Flowing water is jari. But that's just a translation of the word jari. In our fiqh, every flowing water is not jari. That's why I did not name it as jari. I didn't even translate it. Because that technical, it's got a unvan fiqhi, we call it. It's a fiqhi jurisprudential title, okay? Label. So, matter 42. So we read until matter 42. Can one of the brothers read? Oh, your brother Mahdi. Bismillah.
Jari water.
The green light has to be on.
At the bottom, hold it.
You hold the bottom one.
Yeah, hold that until it's green. Yeah, yeah.
Dry water is water that has the following conditions. First, it has a natural source such as spring water, river water, water from a qanat, or water that originates from accumulated snow in the mountains.
Thank you very much. First condition, it has to have a source. So these examples that the Sayyid is mentioning, they are mentioned in our hadith. That either it's springing from the earth, meaning it's streaming from the earth. Either it's a river water, you know what river is. Or qanat is a type of well water, which this is an Iranian type of water system. They used to pull out water from a well. They used to go build a well in the middle of the mountain. And then they used to, let's imagine a mountain like this. I want to mention this so you get a,
Aqueduct?
you know what qanat is?
I think it's an aqueduct of some kind.
Aqueduct? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it the original name. It's a qanat, okay? Sorry. Okay, imagine this is the land, okay? And this is the mountain, okay? So they would go to the top of the mountain and draw a well, dig a well here, okay?
Yeah.
This is a well. And let's say this is the layer of water, okay? So they would dig this hole, and then they would dig a hole like this as well. So one hole this way and one hole this way. So it's technically well water, but this system is called qanat. And then with this, with the air flowing from here, the water would start to flow out of the well to here. And then it will create a stream. We have qanats in Iran that go back maybe 500, 600 years. So it's a flowing water for decades. 3,000 streaming still? Wow, 3,000 for millennials, okay? So this is a qanat. So these were examples of waters that have natural sources. So if it's springing from the water or it's a well, these are qanat water. But the Sayyid doesn't mention well here because well water that's coming from a well, has its own specific laws. Now we are talking about a flowing water that, number one condition is, it has a natural source. Okay? Number two, second,
it is flowing, even if it is made to flow by some means/tool.
Ahsantu. Okay, so it has to be flowing. It's not a water that's remaining in one area. If it's remaining in one area, it's not jari. It could have other laws, but it's not jari. Technically, what is jari is should be flowing, number one, natural source. Okay, number three, please.
Third, it has the general continuity. Therefore, a spring that flows, for example, in winter and stops flowing in summer is considered flowing water only when it is flowing.
Okay, so we have some types of rivers, some types of streams that only flow in certain seasons. Like we have summer rivers, spring rivers, winter rivers. Like when it snows, there's rivers. So number one, it has to be streaming. It has to have a natural source. Number two, it should be flowing either naturally or by some tools. Number three is that it should have general continuity. So if it doesn't have general continuity, only when it is flowing, it's considered jari. Okay? Is that clear, inshallah? Now, can you please read the note?
It should be noted that the flowing water does not need to remain connected to the mentioned natural source. Thus, if it naturally separates from it, such as when water drips from above onto ground and then flows, it is considered flowing water.
Ahsantum. So this example the Sayyid is mentioning is like a waterfall. Okay? So you know a water, I don't need to draw this. So when have you guys seen waterfalls, inshallah? When it comes to a cliff, so you can't say technically the water at the top of the cliff is directly connected to the bottom. There is a stream going on, it's continually flowing, okay? But it's not directly connected like a river, okay? They say it says, even such a flow is considered jari water. It shouldn't be disconnected. It doesn't mean disconnection. It means the continued connection, such as examples like waterfalls, is still considered jari water, okay? However, if something obstructs, now let's say someone comes and builds something, disconnects that waterfall from the flowing water. Let's say it's a whole stream going on. That bottom water is still continuing, but we've disconnected like a dam. We created a dam. But however, if something obstructs.
However, if something obstructs its connection to the source, for example, by stopping its flow or cutting off its connection to the source, the remaining water does not have the ruling of flowing water, even if it is moving.
Even if it's moving. So that movement has to be connected to the main source. So let's imagine a waterfall, and let's say imagine a river. We come and build a dam. The remainder, let's say A side and B side, we cut it in the middle. The A side, it's cut off. The B side is still flowing. So the B side, even though if it's flowing, it's not considered jari. Why? Because it's not connected to the natural source. Is that clear?
You know, when we build a dam, for example,
Bale.
it storage a specific amount of water.
Yes.
After it filled, the same water that comes in, it goes out.
Comes in?
Yeah.
The same water that's blocked, you mean?
There is a daryache.
Okay, okay.
Lake.
Lake, yeah.
The water that comes in lake, the same amount of water comes out.
Okay,
goes out.
while it's flowing, it's jari. When it's disconnected, let's say the dam is closed, it's not, the water that's streaming after the dam is not considered flowing jari water.
You mean if 5 kilometers after dam, when we cut the dam, the water is still in the
Yes,
river?
still flowing.
Still
Okay, but it's not
flowing?
connected to the stream.
Yeah.
It's not. Is that clear? Matter 43. So,
Flowing water, even if it is less than kur, remains pure if impurity reaches it, as long as its smell, color, or taste does not change due to the impurity.
the najasa. Ahsantum. So, the reason I mentioned that specific detail of qalil, what was it? We just read it now. If a water is maybe 5 liters, but still it's streaming, it has all those three conditions. It's a very small stream. I've seen really, really small springs of water. So it's still considered jari water. It doesn't have to be a huge mass. So as minute the amount is, as long as that 3 conditions apply, it's still jari water. What was the condition that applies everywhere, even on jari? In what case jari water becomes najis?
If it's taste, color, or
Smell changes. even jari water becomes impure. So if these three things or one of them happens to any type of water, it loses its purity. So number 44, please.
If impurity, najasa, reaches flowing water, the part of it whose smell, color, or taste changes due to the impurity is impure, and the side connected to the spring remains pure even if it is less than kur. The water on the other side of the stream, if it is kur in amount or is connected to the pure water on the spring side through the water that has not changed, is pure. Otherwise, it is impure.
Okay, thank you very much. So there's two sections to this matter. The Sayyid is saying, imagine a lake, okay, and it's flowing, by the way, a flowing lake, not a static lake, okay. Imagine there's a lake. Let's imagine a lake like this, okay, and this is the streaming place, okay. Let's say this area of it, because of some dirt or filth here, has gained the smell or the color or the taste of impurity. Now, because this area changed that feature, does this area still become najis? No. Why? Because only this area changed. This area that's not changed and connected to the stream is still pure. And the side connected to the spring remains pure, even if it is less than kur. Imagine, this is the huge part, okay? Let's imagine this large area. Let's imagine this whole thing changed its smell. Okay? Imagine this is a stream of water, okay? And then this is still connected to the stream. Imagine this is 200 liters of water, but still the conditions of jari still applies on it, okay? This majority part changed feature. This majority, does it cause this part to become impure? No. If this was core water, what would have happened? The whole thing would have become najis because the majority was najis. But because it's flowing water, this is one of the significance of jari water. Because it's connected to the natural source, this part, even though if it's less than core, pure. Ahsantum. Now the water on the other side. Now we understood this. Now read that part. The water on the other side of the stream.
The water on the other side of the stream, if it is kur in amount or is connected to the water on the spring side through the water that has not changed, is pure. Otherwise, it is impure.
Okay, ahsantum. So the Sayyid gives two examples here. Let's say this side is najis, okay? There's two situations. Either it's connected to the stream and it's less than kur, or either it's not connected to the stream, but it is kur or more. Okay? Is this still najis? No, because it's kur. And it has not changed its features. Okay? So, has not changed, is pure, otherwise it is impure. So otherwise meaning if it's not connected to the stream and it's less than kur, it's impure. Or if it's less than kur and not connected to a stream. Or more than kur and not connected to a stream. Let's say this is 5,000 liters, but not connected to the stream. Okay? And it is less than this. It's the same law of kur applies here. Because the majority part has become najis, that minimal, the smaller part becomes najis also. Is that clear? Can you please read number 40?
Water of a spring that is not flowing but is such that if some is taken from it, more water comes out again, does not have the ruling of jari water. Meaning if impurity, najasa, reaches it and it is less than kur, it becomes impure.
Thank you very much. Sometimes these springs, through certain seasons, become very weak. And I don't know if you've seen it, sometimes water is streaming from the land, but it's very low. Basically, the level of the water is very low. It's not flowing, okay? They say, it says, if the water is not flowing and it's less than kur, what is it? Is it jari water? Why? It's not flowing. Because it's not flowing. One of the conditions of the water, jari water was continuity in flowing. Now if some purity touches it and it's less than kor and it's not flowing, it becomes najas. Why? Because it's qalil. No. Even if the water doesn't change. Meaning if impurity reaches it and it is less than kor, it becomes impure. Because it becomes qalil. Okay? So jari water was something that's flowing. Not necessarily it's sourced. We said, I don't want to open it up too much, it gets complicated. So please.
So for matter 45, if the qalil water does have an impurity, najasa, it reaches it, but we don't know, and it doesn't change in color, of course, it doesn't matter. Will that be, can we still use it as qalil water,
Are
which
we
is pure?
still talking about the water that's from the, not flowing from the earth, yes? That same scenario. If you don't know, one thing that you should, I would, inshallah, we'll mention it in the next week, is that tahara, it's a very good question, by the way. Taharat meaning the law of purity, okay? Qa'idah taharat, they call it. The formula of purity is kullu shay'in laka tahir. Who knows the rest? Hatta ta'lama annahu danis. Do you guys know the translation? So, everything is pure for you until ta'lam, until you know that it is impure. So, one of the conditions of something to be pure for you or impure for you is your knowledge. If you don't know, it's not pure for you. That's why qa'idah taharat, they call it, the formula of taharat, is not a hukm waqi'i, it's a hukm zahiri. Based on your knowledge, that becomes pure. Based on your knowledge, it becomes impure. Okay? Something could be pure for me, impure for you. Let's say I come sit on this chair. You've seen a baby do something on this chair before, but I don't know. You don't sit on this chair because you know it's impure, but I don't know. I just sit on it. It's pure for me. If later on I find out, we'll get to the story of that. But in this scenario, at this moment, it's tahir for me. Is that clear? Answers your question. So if you don't know, it is for you. That's not pure. The water doesn't, for you it's pure. Okay. So 46, please.
Water that is still at the edge of a stream and is not commonly considered part of the stream, even if it is connected to flowing water, does not have the ruling of flowing water. If the total amount of water is kur, it has the rulings of core water.
Ahsant.
Likewise,
we'll get to the likewise. Just let me finish this one. Thank you. So imagine a flowing water on the side of it, okay? So imagine there's a flowing water and the stream is coming. And then on the side, there's a part of it that's not flowing. What was it? It's connected, considered, it's on the edge of the stream, okay? And it is commonly considered part of the stream, okay? It's not commonly, forgive me. It's not considered part of the stream. Imagine there's a static part of the water here, okay? And it's not considered part of the stream. It's only connected. It doesn't have the ruling of flowing water. Why? We just mentioned it. Because it's not considered part of the stream. And we said jari water is a water that flowing continuity. Okay, great. Now, this amount of water, what is the law for it? If it is the amount of kor, it's considered as kor. If it's less than kor, it's considered as qalil. See? Okay. Now can you read likewise?
Likewise, the still water of a pool that is connected to the stream water through a channel or small canal does not have the ruling of flowing water. And if the total amount reaches core, it has the rulings of core water.
Imagine this flowing water is here. We've created a connection to this water and we built a pool on the side. This water is not flowing. This is our pool. Is this pool khur? Sorry, is this pool water jari water? Why? Because it's not flowing.
So that would be an oxbow lake.
Ox,
You know what oxbow lake is?
Oxbow Lake.
Yeah, like when the river meanders, eventually closes its
Oh,
section,
yes,
but it's still
yes,
connected, but
yes.
the water
Yes.
doesn't connect.
Ahsan, that's not jari water. The main lake, because it's flowing, it is, but that connection, it only applies khur if it is to the sum of khur. If it is less, it's qaleel. Great example. So the pool water, if it is to the sum of khur, it's khur. Is that clear? And when we say, like for example, it's khur, it's qaleel, the laws of qaleel that we read applies on it. So instead of the Sayyid repeating, it does not become impure or becomes pure unless the same, the Sayyid says it's khur, so go refer to the rulings of khur. Can you please read 47?
Water that flows over the ground but does not come from a natural source like the earth, if it is less than khur and impurity najasa reaches it, it becomes impure. However, if it flows from above and impurity reaches the lower part, the upper part does not become impure.
Ahsantum. So imagine we've made a synthetic waterfall. It's flowing. Because it doesn't have a natural source, it is not jari water. And now what is the ruling of that water? They say it says if it's less than khur and impurity touches it. If it's less than khur, what does it become? If impurity touches qalil water, what happens? Najis. Ahsantum. Now, the Sayyid mentions if it's flowing from top, the same law that we mentioned, superiority, qala ista'la. So if it's flowing from top, okay, there's a najis here. The water that's touched this najis and it's basically parallel to it, that's najis. But the water above that's not touching and hasn't connected yet, that is tahir. So there's a height, there has to be a superiority. That was jari water. And alhamdulillah for this blessing that we have water. Some please.
One question.
Please.
So we're on the topic of jari water. A river flowing just like the Brisbane River, which has a lot of impurity in it, would that be still considered jari or not? So is it muzaf or mutlaq? I'm not
We
sure.
defined mutlaq
Yeah.
and we defined muzaf.
So
I've never swam in the swam in the Brisbane River. So is it absolute water?
we don't know. The thing is how much of impurity there is. I mean, there are reports that there were, let's say, like sewage that went in there, but not the whole thing. That's one thing. The second is it does have impurities, but like, let's say, in the form of sediment. Sediments like
Chemicals.
As in rocks and soil and everything else that is flowing from, let's say, the top of a mountain.
Rusu. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's Brisbane River. Is it from the sea?
No, it's coming from the mountains and hills, flows into the ocean.
Okay, so you have to go do your research.
Okay.
Do people consider it absolute water? If they do, and the conditions of jari applies, I don't have ilm al-ghaib to know that water, is it that or not. I've never actually touched the water, I've even assessed it. We have to go see. You have to go assess it. And if it's absolute water, they do call it water, it is. If not, do they call it contaminated? No, general, physical.
In 2012, there is a very big flood that in upstream made some change in soil.
Okay.
After that,
It came.
the river is always
Unclear.
unclear. But if you put in your hand,
Oh, really?
you don't see unclear.
You
but
don't?
If you look at the river,
Okay. So that is not a condition, but is one sign to assess. And let's say you take a bucket of water out of it, it's considered absolute water. Sometimes, like for example, have you ever guys, I think I said this example before, have you guys ever been or witnessed washing a mayyit? Okay. Have you seen the cedr water? Is it clear? No. It's not. It's got this greenish color. Opaque?
Yeah,
What?
opaque is like
Opaque.
between clear and
It's like
completely
cloudy.
cloudy.
Not cloudy, no. Just right before cloudy, okay? It's got a bit this foggy, not fully like in a way that you can't see it, but it's changed a little bit of smell. But when you pick up a handful of water from it, it's clear water. If you take it to someone, they'll say, oh, that's absolute water. They'll call it water. They won't call it Ab Sedr. That's why when we mention, inshallah we'll get to it, when we're washing a mayyit, we say it should not be mixed to a point that it's considered mudaf. Because we mentioned a mudaf, inshallah we'll mention, mudaf water cannot purify. And we're washing the mayyit. We have to purify the mayyit. Okay? So if that's the case, the Sayyid said, if you pick up water from it and it's clear, that could be a sign of assessing it. That still goes back to this. If it is this, then yes.
There is still a little bit of sediment, but like Said said, it's not to the point where it's not clear. It is clear. You see some floating sediment, but it's not like, you won't be completely.
Okay, when you say some, it's very vague. Would people still consider it absolute?
What do you think?
It's not mahlul in the water.
Oh, it's
You
not
will see
mixed.
Some
Okay.
piece of
Pi-
sand,
bits,
small sand
okay.
or something. and the
Would
water-
people, get back to this, it's very simple. Would they call it mutlaq, absolute water or not? They do? If they do, okay, we'll answer conditional. If they do, it is. If not,
Who do we ask for that? Because they don't have.
common, we mentioned orf. I think we'll mention this later, or it's common perception. So, and when we say common perception, I don't mean go ask 500 people. Usually people consider it that way. Unfortunately, one of the subjects, concepts in our fiqh that's still not clarified really deeply for people is common perception. Common perception, I would say it like this. You reach a confident level that if you ask everyone, you reach a confident level. Rational confidence, obviously, not someone that becomes easily confident. If you rationally reach a confident level, that if you ask everyone, they would say, oh, this is absolutely water.
It's more like ocean water. When you see ocean, you don't see a clear water. Specifically when you are
Ahsantu.
close to beach.
That's a
But
great
when
example.
you pick up
A handful, you see it clear, yes. Have you seen those crystal clear beaches photos? So not all sea waters are that crystal clear. Have you seen so many coasts, they have foggy seawater. Still it's foggy, but when you pick up a handful, from a distance it looks foggy, but from close it's clear. So as long as it's not considered mudaf, with the definition we mentioned, mixed to the extent that it's not called mutlaq anymore. So the definitions are very technical. If we follow them, it becomes easy. So that was jari water. The next one is rainwater. What's rainwater? Okay, so I want to say this. What type of rainwater do we mean here? We are mentioning a rainwater that is a category of mutlaq water. Sometimes, no. Okay, sometimes some types of rain, it's not considered because it's mixed, it's contaminated. Okay, so a rainwater, that is this, and inshallah we'll mention the conditions of this rainwater to purify. Can any type of rainwater purify? No. Can any mass and amount of rainwater purify? Yes or no? We'll get to it. Can you please read 48?
An impure najis thing that does not have the actual ain, impurity najasa present in it, becomes pure in the place where the rain reaches it. If rain falls on it once, except for the body and clothing that have become impure with urine, in which case, based on obligatory precaution, they must be washed twice. Likewise, the inside of an impure container, based on obligatory precaution, must be washed 3 times.
Ahsantum. So the Sayyid, I'll mention the exclusions of the Sayyid first, then things like clothing and inside a container. Things like clothing are the things that absorb water, okay? And things like the inside of a container is something that's not open, okay? Inside of a container, okay? Keep these in mind, exclude these from your mind, okay? The Sayyid says if you want to purify something or consider something pure by rainwater, it should not have the absolute, what's the word again? Particles of najasa inside it. Let's say something has been impurified by blood, by wipes or anything, take off the blood, there's no more blood on it. Let's say there's a drop of blood on this table, okay? I wipe off the blood from it. There's no more blood here. If you go put it under a microscope, there's no blood, okay? You take this table that does not have any blood on it, put it outside in the parking. When rain comes, with the conditions that we'll mention later, this table would be purified by rainwater. Why? Because there's no particles of najasa. Ahsantum. There is no impurity on it. The actual ayn, they call it aynun najasa. We explain what aynun najasa is, okay? So they must be washed twice. So now in the case of something that's been contaminated or become impure with urine, the Sayyid has a ruling that's based on obligatory precaution. It has to be washed twice. You have to get rid of the najasa first, then washed twice. Okay? So, and then about the inside of a container, the Sayyid says you have to wash it 3 times. So, types of clothing with urine twice after getting rid of the najasa, container 3 times after getting rid of the najasa. It should be noted
that squeezing is not required for carpets, clothing, and similar items.
Okay, now the clothing that we said. You've got rid of the najasa. There's no najasa in it, okay? Now you've put it on the rack under the rain. Do you need to squeeze it under the rain for it to become pure? The Sayyid says no. And inshallah we'll mention that the water has to completely take over the thing. It can't be a rain in a way that it only wets the surface of it. The rain has to drench it. That's for that. But you don't need to squeeze it, because back in the days, some of the ulama, out of ihtiyat, precaution, did say you have to squeeze it. Okay, that was a ruling. The Sayyid notes that because of that. However, now this part that I mentioned, a few drops.
However, a few drops are not sufficient. Rather, it must be such that is commonly said that it is raining.
So a few drops of rain doesn't, like for example today, we didn't have that much of a rain. Maybe it's just some areas that it was really raining hard. But the area that we were, it was raining really lightly. You go outside, you don't even get wet. It's just like a mist type. It has to be considered raining. And if you want to be sure, consider that rain that's considered showery. Like shower rain, they say, oh, this is raining. But in the ambiguous parts, let's say between light rain and shower rain, if you're doubtful, I'll recommend that you just stick to the shower rain. If not, just go open a tap of water and wash your things with your tap of water. We're mentioning this for in the case like if you have something outside and it's become wet. Let's imagine you forgot something impure outside. They say it's not wasting our time. It's actual cases that we deal with. You have something outside in the garden and then it was najis from yesterday. Let's say your baby sat on it and it became najis, okay? And you came the next day, it's rained a lot. The whole garden is najis? So that's for that case, okay? Inshallah, we'll mention by the end how we deal with those cases. If rain falls on an actual
impurity and then splashes onto another place, if the impurity itself is not carried with it and it has not taken on the smell, color, or taste of the impurity, it is pure. Thus, if rain falls on blood and splashes, if there is even a particle of blood in it, or it has taken on the smell, color, or taste of blood, it is impure. And if it is not known whether there is a particle of impurity in it or whether it has not taken on the smell, color, or taste of the impurity, it is pure.
Ahsantum. Imagine there's a puddle of blood. Let's say a few animals came and some vultures came and killed it, and there was a puddle of blood in the jungle, okay? And then it's raining. The Sayyid says if that rain that's raining onto that actual puddle of blood, if that splashes from the rain onto you, if those particles that came onto you have carried with it and it has not taken the smell, color, or taste of impurity, it is pure. So those particles, if they don't have the smell or those features of najasa, or it does not have particles of the blood, let's say no particles of blood are on your foot, then it is pure. Why? Because there's no najasa on you. What came on you was not najasa. Now, if the rain falls on blood and splashes, now it says if the particle of the blood was in it, or it has taken the smell of it, it is impure. Now you were walking, you don't know. Who's going to come and put a magnifying glass and find out what it is? They say it says if you don't know if there was particles of impurity, or the smell of taste or color of it was drawn out with it or not, it is tahir. Why? You mentioned. What was this? Knowledge. You're still doubtful. So you don't know if that particles were carried to you or not. Do you have knowledge? No. You don't know. So we said كُلُّ شَيْءٍ لَكَ طَاهِرٍ. The ruling says it is pure. It's pure because you don't know yet. And there's no need to do ihtiyat in tahara except for very, very specific parts. And inshallah I won't mention now so no one becomes a waswas. So
If there is an actual impurity on the ceiling of a building or on the roof, as long as rain is falling on the ceiling or roof, the water that reaches the impure thing and then drips from the ceiling or gutter is pure, provided it does not have the smell, color, or taste of the impurity. However, after the rain stops, if it is known that the dripping water has reached the impure thing, it is impure.
thank you very much. Okay, imagine on your roof another animal died and there's blood on it. A najis animal, by the way. Okay? And the blood of that animal is on your roof. And it starts to rain, showering rain. That rain comes on your roof, goes down in the gutter or in your garden. Is your entire garden najis?
No.
No. Under certain conditions, it is najis. If it brings the najasa down, number one, or that water that's coming down has the smell, the features, let's call it from now, the features of najasa, it is najis. If not, as long as it's raining, as long as it is raining,
It is pure.
it is pure. However, what number are we reading again? 40? 50, okay? As long as it is raining, it's tahir. Now, the rain stops. That's when the problem starts. After the rain stops, if you know that dripping water has reached the impure thing, your entire garden is najis. Make sure if something happens on your garden.
That's a good question for actually Queensland. So now
Yes.
a lot of homes in Queensland, they have water tanks, rainwater tanks.
Oh my God.
They're core water because they're oftentimes more than 1,000 liters.
Okay.
So if rain stops, but the flowing water with the impurity, let's say in an animal that is died, continues flowing into the tank, so long as it does not change color, taste, or smell of it, it's still considered.
You're giving a scenario that something dead fell inside?
Let's say, yeah, exactly.
Ooh, okay. We said if it's core water,
Then
if
it
the
will be
features
considered
doesn't
core
change,
water.
what
Yeah.
was the ruling of core?
It's still
It's
pure.
tahir.
Yeah, okay. It's just
If it yes. I think they have these filters. They don't allow any animals. Actually, sometimes rats go inside. Yeah.
But let's say we have solar panels and pigeons nest underneath. If they die and let's say the blood keeps flowing into the water, so it gets the ruling of core as long as it's
if the features
above
doesn't change.
384.
Yes, of course. Still, don't forget the features should not
Right.
change.
Of course.
Yeah, but this is a core-related question, not rain.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mix of both, but yeah, eventually
okay.
it goes to core.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, but while the water is running, flowing, that's we said. Okay, number 51, please. Can't pure if rain falls on it. Okay.
Until he comes back.
Can you
Matter 51. Impure ground becomes pure if rain falls on it, and if rain flows over the ground and while it is raining reaches an impure place that is under a roof, it also purifies it.
So what's the condition the Sayyid is not mentioning here, but we learnt it before?
I have a question in regards to the previous one, matter
Okay.
3.
Oh, explain this. We'll get to it. Sorry. So, forgive me. Don't forget about it. Okay. So, if the land is najis and there's no actual najasa on it, impure ground becomes pure if rain falls on it, and if rain flows over the ground. Now, that was the part. If you want your ground to get tahir, there should not be actual najasa on it. But rain does make it tahir. Okay. Now, imagine you have a shed and rain is flowing and the gutter, the water is coming down from it. While the rain is still pouring down, this gutter, there's a huge mass of water coming down. You've seen sometimes it gets really flowing. They say, it says, if the ground under it, okay, gets overflowed and covered by that water while it is raining, it has to cover it and get connected to that rain while it is raining, okay? Not the rain stops, then it reaches. No. While it is raining, that place also gets purified by rain. Yarhamkumullah. So because it's connected to rain. Please continue. Your question for the before.
In the previous example, you said that
Ceiling.
water would be dripping after the rain has stopped. Then
Yeah.
the entire place would become najis.
If you know, we said it. If it is known that the dripping water has reached the impure thing, that is the known, that ta'lama. Okay.
So would it be then recommended to remove the impure thing before the rain stops?
Yes, that's what I just said. Be careful. You remove it. Yes. And if you want to go after, you're going to get najis your whole thing. So it's a hard job. So yeah, but yeah, that's a disaster happening. Yeah, number 52.
Impure soil becomes impure if rainwater
Becomes
reaches
pure.
becomes pure if rainwater reaches all its parts, provided it is not known that the water has become mudhaf
Mudaf.
due to contact with the soil.
Okay, so imagine you have a pot of soil, or let's say your garden. It's become najis, and there's no actual najasa in it. There should not be any actual najasa. In what situation rain could make it tahir? If rainwater reached all its parts. Now, we said rainwater that is mutlaq, absolute, can purify. Now, if rainwater came down, and due to the immense, let's say, movements or let's say pressure of the rain, that water, before it gets tahir by the way, that water that gathered inside that soil became mudaf. Is it still rainwater that purifies? No. Provided it is not known. No. It should not become mudaf. If it becomes mudaf, it does not make it tahir. Provided it is not known that the water has become mudaf due to contact to the soil. So it would make it purified in a way that it reaches the soil and that water doesn't become mudaf.
What if the rain itself that fall from the sky
Yes.
reach the whole soil?
Yes.
Even if it gathers somewhere and mudaf, what's the problem?
So it should not become mudaf. So that rain touching the soil should not get mudaf. It should remain still unmixed with the soil. If it becomes mudaf, it cannot make it tahir. Because it's not absolute water anymore. Not clear? Do you want me to read the Farsi one for you? I'll read the Farsi after if it's unclear. Okay. So number 53.
Whenever rainwater gathers in a place, even if it is less than kur, during the time it is raining, if an impure najis object is washed in it, and the water does not take on the smell, color, or taste of impurity, that impure object becomes pure.
Okay, now this is an example like the core we mentioned before. Imagine there's a small pool. It gathers rainwater inside it, okay? But that pool is not 380 liters of mass to take that much of water in it. It's maybe 50 liters. There's water inside it. While the rain is connected, by the way, not a few sprinkles of rain, okay? proper pouring rain, okay? If you wash something inside it, let's say your hand, there's no actual najasa inside it. You wash your hand inside it, because it's connected to rain, it becomes tahir. One condition is that it doesn't take the feature of the impurity. So when you put your hand inside it, it doesn't become mudaf by smell, taste, or color, okay?
If rainwater gathers in a pit and is less than kur, after the rain stops, as soon as impurity reaches it, it becomes impure.
Ahsantum. One of the things that we have in Australia, and I remember when I used to go to school, the puddles. The puddles, and you know, dogs they have here, pets they have here. Dogs go onto the puddle and they walk and they splash water out. Yeah, that puddle becomes najis because it's not qur. What is it? If, let's say, if it's absolute water, it's qalil. And if it's mudaf water, it's double the problem. So it becomes najis and it makes other things najis also. So that's some problem that we have in Australia. So is that clear? What time did we start? Sorry. Go on, please.
If rain falls on a pure tahir carpet that is on impure najis ground, and while it is raining, the rainwater passes from the carpet to the ground, the carpet does not become impure, and the ground also becomes pure. Unless the water becomes mutaf, or its color, smell, or taste changes due to the actual impurity, ain't no najasa.
Ain't no najasa. So imagine you have a proper, like a tahir carpet, and then there's some najasa under it. Any examples? Let's say dried blood under it, okay? They say it says, while the rain is still pouring down and the rainwater passes from the carpet to the ground, the carpet does not become impure and the ground also becomes pure. So the rainwater passes the carpet, it reaches below it. By the way, sorry, not dried blood. No, not urine too. No, it's just the impure land. No, it can't be an actual substance of najasa there. Sorry, that's my mistake, okay? And the carpet does not become impure. Why? Because it's connected to the rain, okay? And the ground also becomes pure. So the carpet was already pure. Below it was najis. Because the rain passed through the carpet and it reached the ground, while it was still pouring, the ground becomes najis. Now, let's say, the ground becomes pure. Now, let's say that impurity below the carpet is so bad that when rain starts pouring on it, it makes the water of rain under it or with the carpet mudaf. When that happens, when the smell or the taste or the color of najasa gets absorbed with that rainwater there, that's where the problem happens. That's where, if dried blood, as we mentioned, if there's dry blood, that's when the whole thing is najis, you got to wash it. Yeah.
What if rain comes too much and take all blood and color everything with it?
Oh, if that's a storm, yeah. If it does everything for you, it washes, dries your carpet, and it lays it down on. So yeah. So yes, if it does get rid of the actual najasa and everything, if it does get rid of everything, all particles go and everything goes. All this happens while it's raining. That's a miracle rain, by the way. So it's a storm rain, maybe. So yes, that's very rare to happen, but yes. But the example that the Sayyid mentions, it's just impure ground, not actual substance of najasa. Actual substance of najasa usually would make the rain mudaf, that water around the carpet mudaf, and it will cause the whole problem because of the ayn najasa. Please read number 56.
If rain falls into a pool whose water is impure and mixes with it, and the properties of the actual impurity, ain of najasa, are not present in the water of the pool becomes pure.
Why? Who can tell me why? Because there's no actual impurity in it, number one. And pool rainwater is mutahhir, purifies. So they say it says, it falls into a pool, the water is impure, and that rainwater mixes with it. It has to mix. Because if it just touches it, no. There has to be proper mixture. Let's say, imagine that type of rain that the Sayyid said. It mixes the whole, let's say there's wind gushing, and it mixes the whole pool, mixes with the pool water that's impure, and the properties of the actual impurity are not present. Let's say there's no najasa inside it, the water of the pool becomes pure. There you go.
It means the pool was najis, but color and taste was not changed.
It doesn't say. It says there's no actual purity that those features of najasa are present in it. So let's say it's a bit foggy, okay, from some type of najasa.
But after rain, it should be clear.
Yes, 100%. Yes, it has, and no remnants of najasa, smell, color, or taste should be present.
It happened to the qalil water as well.
Of course, when an entire pool could be pured, of course, qalil water can be purified.
Yeah, it means if there is a kase,
Okay, bowl.
bowl of water
Yes.
and it's impure
Yes,
under the rain.
yes, of course.
Will be-
بطريقة أولويات. Yes, 100%. Yes, thank you.
Does it have to be a really heavy rain, or can it be light rain as well?
Yes, look, we mentioned this. This is,
Yes.
I mentioned this. So it shouldn't be a few drops. Consider, it doesn't have to be heavy rain that in a type that you would drench everything. That's perfect, okay? But it has to be considered rain, not some type of a droplet rain. You know, you've seen the different types of rain. MashaAllah, in Australia we have different types. So we'll read these two. I want to finish the types of water, and we'll leave the rest for next week, inshallah. We'll just finish well water. So we covered kur, qalil, jari, and rain. And if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, or after the class. And the last type is well water. Now again, what type of well water is mutahhir, purifier?
Rises from the ground.
100%, yeah, but mutlaq. It should not be mudaf. Keep this always in mind. Kur, which is mutlaq. Qalil, which is mutlaq. Jari, which is mutlaq. Rain, which is mutlaq. Well, which is mutlaq. If it becomes mudaf, none of these laws apply on it. The mutlaq, the absoluteness of the water has to remain. Now, well water. Now the Sayyid defines what is a well water. Can you please define it for us?
Well water which springs sources from the ground, even if it is less than kur, remains pure and purifying, if impurity reaches it. And as long as its smell, color, or taste does not change due to the impurity, najasa.
As long as, you got to read like this, as long as its smell, color, and taste does not change due to the impurity. So the difference here it has with jari water, it doesn't have to be flowing. It is springing from the earth. It has a source from the earth. But because it's in a well, and it has, we call it in the hadith, it has a madde. It has a source. Because it has a source, even if najasa hits it, it's less than kur. Let's say it's only 10 liters of well water. If, let's say it's a dried well. No, not a dried well, sorry. It's still sourced from the earth, okay? But it's very little amount of water inside the well, okay? Even if impurity touches it, it's still pure and purifies. But if that impurity is so bad that changes the color, smell, and taste, or the smell and taste of the well, that's when the whole thing becomes impure, and that's when an entire problem happens, which they don't really mention this part of fiqh anymore. They call it mansuhat al-bi'r, where how to purify a well, which is a really huge problem. But nowadays, well is not really source that people get their water from. That's why the Sayyid only mentions two matters of it, and that's it. If impurity,
najasa, falls into a well and changes the smell, color, or taste of its water, then when that change disappears, it becomes pure. However, based on obligatory precaution, its purification is conditional upon it mixing with the water that springs from the well.
okay, imagine we had a well that its features were changed by najasa. After a while, the features went and it became absolute again, okay? The Sayyid says it becomes pure. Here, the Sayyid has an extra note. He says based on obligatory precaution, if you want to consider that water pure or purifying, you have to mix it with some type of spring water or running water. Either itself, let's say the well has to substantially start to spring, that you could say it's been mixed with running water, a sourced water or a spring water from the land. Or basically you got to wash it with some, or clean it or purify it with some type of flowing water. Let's say you direct let's say a river into it, and then it gets mixed with the whole thing and it becomes pure. So this was the last matter of the types of water, and inshallah next week we'll mention the other laws and rulings related to water. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين.